Hi, how's everybody today? First, before I start, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please comment below, let me know how I'm doing, and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to discuss in particular. A bit windy here out today, a bit cloudy and cold, but that's okay. We don't mind. It's a lovely view as usual. Right, today I want to discuss about honour-based abuse because it's quite prevalent in our society. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself and if I've already spoken about it in other videos, but there are so many different ways that honour-based abuse is implemented, rather, and usually it's against women and girls, mainly in our community, in our society, and it is usually of the Asian culture, African culture, those kind of cultures, but it's not, it can be any sort of religion, any culture, any society, any country. Quite often we're in 21st century Britain, and you don't expect to see it here, but it is so prevalent and it is so widespread that so many victims, even today in 21st century Britain, is still happening. In Victorian times, if you go back to Victorian times, it used to be quite often, people say about honour and, dishonour and things that people did, mainly women, bringing shame on the family and things, unplanned pregnancies, sort of extramarital affairs, these kind of things would bring shame and dishonour onto the families. In our culture, in our communities these days, especially the Asian community, quite often if girls are seen to be dating outside of marriage, unexpected pregnancies outside of marriage, those kind of things are thought to be sort of bringing on dishonour onto a family. Love marriages are quite often frowned upon. You're not allowed to choose your own partner. You have to leave it to your parents to choose. And I know Muslim and Sikh girls struggle with this a lot because quite often families do not agree to, the person they want to marry. So they're forced to leave the people that they choose and force into marriages that they're not happy with, which then often results in domestic violence and further abuse as a result. Sometimes divorce is frowned upon, especially in Muslim culture. Divorce is said to be not acceptable according to religion, according to culture and society. So quite often you're not allowed to divorce, and I found that myself. The first time I went to divorce my husband, it took me 12 years and 3-4 attempts before I was able to, and that was only because I cut myself off with my community and my family and everybody, despite suffering 12 years of domestic violence, physical abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse, everything. I still wasn't allowed to divorce him. Even the current one that I'm still married to, I haven't divorced him yet. People are still sort of saying, oh, do you not think you can make a go of it? Or maybe, you should just try and make a go of it. Well, no, he's a closet homosexual who's been narcissistically abusive to me for 10 years. So no, I don't really think I want to make a go of it at all whatsoever. And, that's something that's on the cards that I need to get on and do. I've found, even like currently, I know of cases where the girl is, and it all comes down to honour basically, but they disguise it with different sort of, different excuses. Oh, we just care about her. We just want to make sure she's okay. We don't want her to go out and get hurt. And it comes down to where girls are and women are forced, controlled, cut off and isolated from friends and family and their support networks. If the family deem that you will be a bad influence on the girl, they will not allow you to see her or speak to her. If they think that you're going to teach her things or educate her things about her own rights and stuff, then you're cut off from her. You're not allowed to see her. Girls aren't allowed to go out and date. I mean, in Muslim culture that's not acceptable. In 21st century Britain it's perfectly normal and everybody's dating, and then you are sort of like, when you are living in a culture where everybody around you is dating, everybody around you is allowed to choose their partners, love marriages is a norm, and then you're being told, well, no, you can't, you're not allowed to, that's not acceptable, and then you're forced to marry people that you've never met or you don't know or you don't particularly like. That all comes down to honour-based abuse, and it can be in so many different shapes and forms, and it can be physical violence, it can be verbal, it can be coercive control, it can be financially, you have no access to money, no access to finances, no access to any support networks. It can exhibit in so many different ways, and women, even in the 21st century, are struggling with this. Young girls are struggling with this, where they're just forced by their families to live by the rules of the family and the rules of the community and the society. And shame, bringing shame on your family is considered worse than death. They would rather kill you or control you or abuse you than allow you to live a life free, free to make your choices, free to make your decisions, to make your own mistakes and learn from your mistakes. But no, if they've deemed that it will bring shame onto the family, then you are not allowed to do it. You're not given the permission to do it. I know so many cases where it's disguised as love and concern and care, tough love. I've been told recently, tough love, we can't pamper them to their needs. We have to exhibit tough love because they're obviously we've been too soft on them. We've been allowing them to get away with everything, and they think they can do what they like, and they are manipulating us and things. They're not. No one's manipulating anyone. At the end of the day, everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to live their life according to their rules and according to how they want and their preferences, and be allowed to make choices and be allowed to choose who they spend their life with. But when it comes down to, sorry, just excuse me a minute. When it comes down to honor-based abuse, abusers don't care. A lot of it is down to narcissism. They want to control you. They want to tell you what to do. You have to live by their rules and their standards. And if you refuse to, then you are going to be abused. Whether that's physically abused, you're getting beaten, you're getting burnt, you're getting tortured, whatever way you look at it. It seems extreme that, oh God, torture, what do you mean by torture? Well, it is. If you're physically hurting someone, physically locking them up, physically taking their phone off them, not allowing them to do what they want, not allowing them to live the life the way they want, to speak to who they want, to see who they want, to go where they want, then that is abuse. And when you are doing it in the name of honor and shame, and what are people going to say? People are going to laugh at us, people are going to comment, people are going to look down at us, then that comes down to honor-based abuse. And a lot of it in our culture, a lot of it in our society, in our community, is down to honor-based abuse. But people don't realize, people don't even understand what honor-based abuse is. They hear of the extreme cases where someone is killed because of honor. That is an extreme case, but it is happening day in, day out on less of a scale that people don't understand and don't realize that it's happening all around them all the time, every day. And there are so many cases, and it's just scary to think that people are still allowed to get away with this kind of thing. How do you bring these people to justice? How do you stand up for the poor women and the girls who are being subjected to this day in, day out? It's just not acceptable. People need to do more about it. People need to be more educated about it. People need to talk up, speak up, and stand up for people. If you know other people who are struggling with this, you need to do something about it. Tell someone, report it to the police, report it to social services, report it to the GP or the health service. There's Yellow Doors, there's domestic violence advisory services, there's PIPA, there's Women's Aid, Samaritans. Anywhere, just report it, just tell someone about it, because it's just not acceptable, and it shouldn't be happening in 21st century Britain, or wherever you may be in the world. It should not be happening anywhere in the world. Third world countries, it is classed as acceptable because a person's shame, a family honor, is more important than a person's life, and they will kill and they will die for it. But this is just not acceptable behaviour. Please, people, do something about it and put a stop to this. I'm going to sign out now. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please let me know how I'm doing. Comment below. Take care. Bye.